WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Candlepin Skins. It's bowling with a whole new twist as New England's best bowlers battle for cash prizes in every box. Candlepin Skins is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to the Londonderry Bowling Center here in Londonderry, New Hampshire for another edition of Candlepin Skins. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy. And Dan, among all the people that we've had on our shows over the years, I can't think of two guys who've made more combined appearances maybe than Bob Kelly and Pat Pay, and they're both back today.
That's right. Pat making his fourth appearance in this string anyways, and Bob's back for his, trying to make it two in a row. So, yeah, if you started counting up all those, we probably have a year and a half of shows just with those two guys.
And two more guys joining them, as we, of course, have four competitors, as always, here on Candlepin Skins. Alex Pendleton from Groton, Massachusetts, and Larry Valcourt from Newport, New Hampshire will be joining Bob and Pat for today's show. And they finished first and second, respectively, in the recent roll-off. We'll show you the roll-off scores after our first break. But first of all, our rules here on Candlepin Skins. Just to refamiliarize you, or if you're joining us for the first time, it works a little differently here on Candlepin Skins. We have four bowlers who compete individually, one box at a time, and each box is a separate competition in and of itself. The high score in each box wins the dollar amount assigned to that box, or the skin, if you will. The skins carry over with ties, so if there is a tie in the high score in any particular box, the dollar value carries over and it accumulates to the next box. And of course, the top two bowlers in total pinfall come back next week. That's how you keep winning money here on Candlepin Skins. That's what Bob Kelly and Pat Pay are trying to do, keep their strings alive here today. Now, here are the dollar values assigned to each box. The first three boxes in each game are worth $10. The next three boxes worth $15 each. Boxes 7, 8, and 9 in each game are worth $25, and the 10th box in each game worth the big $50. Now, we have two games, as opposed to our normal three over on the singles program, two games of total pinfall here on Candlepin Skins. We've got four bowlers anxious to get started, and we are too. We will be back to get things going here on Candlepin Skins right after these words. Don't go away. Oh, we already told you Alex Pendleton and Larry Valcourt are on today's show. These are the roll-off scores from the recent roll-off held at Lakeside Lanes for Candlepin Skins, and these are the top 8 bowlers who've qualified to make an appearance here on Candlepin Skins, Alex and Larry today. Next week, Tom Morgan and Chris Sargent, a couple more old favorites. Ed Jeroman and Bill Koffold in a couple of weeks. Steve Plant and Dan Broder also will be with us in the weeks to come. But right now we are ready to go with Bob Kelly as the left-hander will lead us off here. Two guys up on the line right now are two returning bowlers from last week, Bob Kelly, and here's Pat Pay.
Pat right through the middle, 1, 5, and 9. Bob Kelly's got the 4 horsemen plus the 8 pin.
And Bob will take his 10. And Pat will work out with a nice 9.
Well, it's wide open for Larry and Alex.
Larry Valcourt will fire first. There's Larry. And Larry will have maybe a strike. At least a spare
Yes, there it goes.
Yes, it is a strike. That may be worth $10 unless Alex Pendleton can throw one on top of him. Look out.
Oh.
Not quite. So Larry takes the first skin worth $10. He had to wait it out, but it was worth the wait. Alex is waiting for a piece of wood to roll off into the channel, and now he'll shoot at the head pin for a spare. Don't see this very often, Dan.
No.
The head pin for a spare, and he takes it.
Probably one of the tougher shots because you realize you got such a big break. And here you see Larry's strike, just knocking the 4-pin forward into the deuce for the strike.
The second box is also worth $10.
Now Pat Pay will go first on lane 30.
Again full, but this time he gets the break.
Bob Kelly, lane 29.
And Bob also kicks out an extra pin, so 2 singles for spares here. Pat gets his. And Bob gets his.
Pair of spares. Going to take another strike by either Larry or Alex to win the skin. Larry would like another strike. Give him a double. First, Alex filling a spare.
Oh, great ball.
And he gets the strike.
Great smooth delivery right in the pocket for Alex Pendleton. Alex wins himself a skin in the second. Well, Larry looking for spare on strike, and he misfires. And it's just 8. Here's a look at Alex Pendleton's strike. Went over to the Brooklyn side, but a good pocket hit and carries the 5-pin. That brings us to the third box, which will now be worth $10, and Bob Kelly working on a spare.
Bob drops 8, leaves himself the 4 and 7 and a piece of wood in front.
Pat working on a spare also. Bob has another one.
Oh. A little far right on that. I don't think you want to be way over there. Pat gives it a good run.
And he'll take a 10. Larry Valcourt now. And Larry gets it for the spare. Ooh, Alex almost puts a spare on his strike, leaving the 8-pin. The spare by Larry Valcourt creates the carryover here in the third. There you see it. Again, the fill on the mark has no bearing on the skin, so the spares create the carryover here in the third, meaning that the fourth box will now be worth $25. Pat Pay.
Pat will shoot at the 5 and the 8 pins, but he's got a tough piece of wood way out in front of the 5-pin and almost angled directly at him.
Bob Kelly with a 7 fill on his mark. Let's see what Pat can do here. Nope. Not much available there.
Oh.
Not quite. Pat will take a 9. And Bob will be open also with a 9, leaving the stage open for Larry Valcourt and Alex Pendleton.
Larry be working on a spare. Alex, light hit, kicks out the 10-pin, which should help, but he still has a difficult spare in the 2, 4, 7, 8.
Larry Valcourt throws the ball pretty hard.
He certainly does. Leaves nothing in the bag.
It's funny, too, because he's not one of those guys that you would think of right away as one of the power throwers, but you watch him and he really fires the ball very hard. Well, let's see. 9s are good right now. There's a 10 for Alex Pendleton. That may win the skin, unless Larry can also get a 10 here. He does. I think all the bowlers probably pretty happy with that, except maybe Alex Pendleton. That's another carryover, and this fifth box will now be worth $40. Bob Kelly. And Pat Pay. Pat's been kind of flush on the head pin most of the day so far.
He's going to look at the 6, 7, 10. Bob Kelly bid on the 1, 2, and 10 for a spare. Not to be. Pat, let's see if he can do something with the wood. Well, flew the ball over the 7 pin, but didn't knock it down.
Another 9 for Bob. And Pat takes 10.
So 10 leads for this carryover skin.
Again, worth $40. Hey, remember, join us tomorrow for Candlepin Stars and Strikes here on the Winds of New England at our regular time, Sunday at noon. Tomorrow we start a brand new series, and it will be our number 5 seed Joe Tavernese against our number 4 seed Rick Barassa. So join us for that tomorrow at noon on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Alex Pendleton's looking at the 3-6. Larry Valcourt, the 7-10. But he does have a piece of wood,
Which is stopped in a pretty good spot right now, it seems.
He throws it so hard, though. The ball might just jump around them. Well, it didn't get far enough down on the piece of wood.
Alex Pendleton for the skin, and he's got it. The spare in the fifth takes that $40 skin for Alex Pendleton. And Larry Valcourt will settle for a 9. And we will take our first break. Hey, those total pinfall scores are pretty close, too. Alex Pendleton in the lead right now, and he takes the skin in the fifth. We'll return in a minute. We come back to the Londonderry Bowling Center. Candlepin skins here on the Winds of New England. So glad to have you with us. And Pat Pay, box number 6, which is worth $15.
Both Pat and Bob have been shut out so far in skins. Just been Larry and Alex so far. Let's see what Bob can negotiate. The 5, 6, 9, and 10. And before I get the words out, it doesn't happen.
Be a 9 for Pat Pay. He's open for his 4th straight box. Pat with only 1 mark to this point. And Bob is open for his 3rd box in a row, his 3rd 9 in a row. Alex Pendleton with 3 marks right now. He's working on a spare here, and he has the overall lead at this point. Man, great, solid pocket hit again, but look at the leave.
Great ball, but lousy leave. The 5, the 8, and the 10. Piece of wood in front of the 10, and Larry's bid for a strike that close. I think he's still got to split the 5 and the 8. That's what he's trying to do. Too far left.
Skin available here for Larry if he makes this spare. With a lot of wood in front, and he makes it.
Did you see what happened?
Jumped right over.
Yeah, picked the front piece up over the second 2 pieces for the 10 pin.
$15 skin for Larry Valcourt. We move to box number 7, which is worth $25, and Bob Kelly fires first. Bob for the spare. No. Pat will give his a try. Tough leave there. So again, open frames for Bob Kelly and Pat Pay. Fourth time in a row that they've matched open frames, and Larry Valcourt ready to go, firing on a mark here.
Chance for him to close in on the leader, Alex Pendleton. He was at 84. This will give Larry 77 through 6 boxes.
Well, not what you would call a spare leave out here, although
might have to
chances for both, I guess.
Yeah, I think on Larry's I might want to go left on that piece of wood. That's what Larry's trying, and that close. Alex Pendleton, the 1, 2, 7, 10. 2 full in the head pin.
Well, right now a 10 for Bob Kelly is good. Larry Valcourt certainly with a shot at a 10 here. Firing at the 6 pin, and he's got it. And there's the carryover. Alex Pendleton will have to take 8. So now box number 8 is worth $50, and those scores remain close, but Alex and Larry running 1, 2. Bob Kelly and Pat Pay, 3rd and 4th. Pat for the spare.
Oh, wow. I can't believe that.
Neither could Pat.
Bob Kelly's bid for spare, and he too gets tapped on, leaving 1 pin standing, and both thought they had the marks, and so didn't we.
10 for Pat Pay. 10 for Bob Kelly. Let's take a look at what happened on Pat's attempt. Oh, how did it miss? Everything dancing around the 7 pin. Alex Pendleton still in the lead. Just catching a bit of the head pin, and look at the wood.
It's a tough shot without the wood out in front because they have that sleeper in the back, the 8 pin.
I think I like Alex's chances right here. There it is. Maybe good enough for a $50 skin also. Unless Larry can make a shot here. Oh, he got it! Takes it away from him, and a high five from Alex Pendleton, well deserved. Creating the carryover, Larry Valcourt with a dandy.
Wow. It's twice Larry's done that to Alex.
That makes this 9th box worth $75 now.
Bob Kelly will shoot at the 7-10. Pat Pay off target left.
Yes, Bob finally gets a break as the ball comes back to get the 10 pin. That is Bob's first mark after going 5 opens in a row. Pat Pay takes 8. Let's take a look at Bob's shot. Watch for the ball behind the 10 pin right there.
Well, both Larry and Alex will be working on marks, trying to preserve their 1-2 ranking so far in this match.
Remember, a $75 skin on the line here in the 9th. Bob Kelly with a spare up. Oh, it's going to be tough shots both sides here. And small fills both sides also. 4 for Larry and 3 for Alex. And coming back to get it. Oh, how about that? To create the carryover. Wow. Nice try by Alex, too.
That microphone is open down there. I'm surprised Bob Kelly had a few comments for that one. Just looked like it barely touched the 3 pin, or actually the 6 pin, I believe, in falling into the 3 pin.
Let's see.
Yeah, right here. Just taps the 6 pin, just enough to tip it forward into the 3.
So this 10th box is worth $125. Pat Pay first. Almost the strike. He leaves the 2-pin. Bob Kelly does get the strike. Bob heating up in the last 2 boxes. That's strike on spare for Bob. Pat counters with a spare. So they'll both stay up there to fill these marks. Bob Kelly's strike.
No doubt about that one. Nice ball by Bob Kelly.
Bob's had a very funny string. He had 2 marks early and now a couple of marks late. Pat gets 6 on his mark for a 107. Bob looking for the double, and that close.
A lot of pins in the last 2 frames. Make it 40 in the last 2 frames.
For a 132.
Yeah, quiet 132, wasn't it?
I'll say.
Wow.
And remember, the strike leads for the skin, $125 here in the 10th.
Alex Pendleton was leading this string most of the way. Now he's got to at least put 1 mark up to have a chance at catch Bob Kelly.
Larry's working on a spare. Last chance to have the skin. He pulled it. And Bob Kelly has himself a $125 skin in the 10th. So Bob wins his first skin of the day. Obviously, he was just waiting for the carryover to pile up. Oh, big spare for Larry Valcourt. After the 2 fill on the half Worcester, Larry Valcourt works out of it with a spare. Alex took a 10 for a 123, which is where Larry is, plus this fill ball here. And he will take 9 with a tap for a 132 to tie Bob Kelly for the high game here in string number 1. 122, I beg your pardon. No, that should be 132, a spare 9 in the 10th for Larry Valcourt. So it's 132 for Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt. They share the lead after 1 here on Candlepin Skins. Here's the money that's been won so far here on Candlepin Skins. Bob Kelly waiting till the 10th, that big carryover, and taking it home, $125. Alex and Larry also on the board. Pat hoping to get there in this second game, and Bob with that money leading total will lead game 2. He also is the co-leader in pinfall with 132 in that opening game. Certainly everybody well within range, though. Especially, remember, it's not just the winner that comes back next week. It's the top 2 finishers that will return.
Yes, we have both Bob and Larry at 132. Followed closely by Alex at 123 and Pat at 107.
And again, keep in mind, bottom of the screen there on the CompuScore board, you'll see the running totals, the cumulative totals of the 2 games as we continue, so you can keep an eye on how your favorites are doing. Pat Pay. Pat really hasn't gotten himself started yet. Converted a single pin for a spare in the 2nd in the first game, and then in the 10th he had a spare, but that's been it. He'll take a 10 to start game 2. I'd like to take a moment here to welcome a brand new sponsor to Candlepin Skins, the Car Phone Store of Nashua. Big strike, Larry Valcourt. May take a skin here in the first unless Alex can match him. Manager Vince Colati and the gang at the Car Phone Store of Nashua on Daniel Webster Highway. Oh my! I'll get this in eventually. The guys keep throwing strikes on me. So Alex takes that skin away from Larry Valcourt.
Larry did it a couple times to him in the first game. It's sweet payback for Alex on that one.
Bob Kelly now. Oh, how about another? 3 strikes in a row by 3 different bowlers.
All right, Pat. No pressure, right?
Bob Kelly crossing over to the 1-3 pocket.
No cheap ones either. They're all 10 pins moved out of there pretty quick.
Oh, and another one! 4 in a row! Not all in the same box, but 2 in the second and 2 here in the third. That, of course, automatically creates another carryover. Regardless of what Larry and Alex do.
Alex a little...
With the bat out of turn.
That's right, yeah. Just wants to get up. He figures there's only a few more strikes left. He wants to get up there early. He got to get up there before Larry did. Larry misses the head pin, but leaves himself the 1, the 3, and the 6 pins, trying to go spare on strike.
And
outside again.
More spare. Wow.
He's got that 6 into the 3 down pat now. This is the second time. Watch this. Head pin just tips the 6 pin into the 3.
That's the second time he's done it on a spare, but he had it happen on a strike also. So that's 3 times Larry has had a backdoor mark. Oh, Alex with the 1 on the first ball. Fortunately, he's working on a strike here. So he still has a chance to bail out. He'll take 4 on his strike. Of course, the carryover was already in effect, so this third box will be worth $30.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Boy. Big mistake by Alex. Just 18 after 2 boxes. And you can see trailing both Bob and Larry, and those 2 bowlers have marks up. Pat Pay also working on a strike, which Pat would really like a double to get him back in the total pinfall race.
Almost. Bob Kelly looking for the double strike.
Bob seems to all of a sudden caught fire toward the end of that first game, and he's carrying it right into the second game. Spare on strike.
Can I try again now on the car phone store?
Yes, please do.
All right. The car phone store of Nashua on Daniel Webster Highway South in Lamplighter Square, right across from the Pheasant Lane Mall, thanks to Vince Colati, the manager of the car phone store. Stop in. Tell him you heard about him on Candlepin Skins. Or you can call him up and tell him.
I think I just heard a phone ring just as we speak. That's 9 fill on Pat's strike. So the carryover skin belongs to Bob Kelly right now with that spare.
$30 skin here in the third. Larry on his spare. Pulled it, half Worcester left. Larry could use another one of those backdoor shots right now.
Ooh, good bid on the spare, but down to 1, or it's going to be Bob Kelly's.
$8 for Larry. So the spare up for Bob Kelly is good right now for the skin, with Alex coming up to challenge it.
Well, he could throw a strike and take it away from Bob and keep it himself, or put the spare up and we'll have another carryover. Oh, got a good break when the 7 pin went down. Now he wants this wood to flatten out, because that's not an easy shot. The 3 and the 9, and he's not going to like it.
Oh, almost. So that's a $30 skin for Bob Kelly. Adds to his winnings. And a 10 for Alex Pendleton. And as you can see, Larry Valcourt and Bob Kelly running in first and second respectively now, although Bob will take the lead undoubtedly with this spare fill as he steps up in the fourth, which is worth $15, by the way. Bob only takes 5 and he was not real happy with the way he threw that ball, I don't think.
Pulled that one way to the right.
Bob will take a 9. Pat Pay from Somersworth, New Hampshire. Works at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. And he's got another strike, and Pat needs him because he is trying to crawl back into this thing total pinfall-wise, and he's in 4th right now. So the strikes will help. Strike may also win Pat the skin. High-low jack still there for Larry. Do you get the feeling that something is going to happen in the last box of this match? Something about this says that it's not going to be decided until the end.
Well, Pat's the one that's trailing, but he's the only one that's got a markup so far. Alex Pendleton bowling in the 4th now. He was leading Pat by just a few pins. Wants the 5 pin to go. It does. The 10 also leaves himself just a 6, and he needs a spare desperately, but that'll give the skin to Pat Pay.
Say, Pat loved to see those extra pins carry for Alex as long as the last one didn't go. Pat's first skin of the day, so Pat is on the board. Alex Pendleton could use this mark, and he's got it. I think I marked it up there a little too soon. He didn't have all of it, but he had enough of it.
Well, the two that are trailing both have marks up, so you may be right, Doug. This may just turn into one of those that deciding the last box, somebody winning the skin to come back next week, and a lot of things could happen. 4 horsemen for Bob Kelly plus the 9.
5th box worth $15 here. And Bob that close to a spare. You know, we talked about Bob throwing that 132, a quiet 132 in the opening game. He's got a couple of marks here in the second game, and he's leading the match overall, but he doesn't seem to be real comfortable yet.
He thought he had that last spare, and I did too. He left the 7 pin, but well, there's an important box for Pat Pay, working on a strike.
Oh, this time the spread eagle.
Not exactly what he wanted. Oh, what a try. What a try.
That's also a 9 fill on the strike, so how big was that ball? As he bails out of the spread eagle with a 9 fill and then takes it for a 10. Let's take a look at it.
Just cuts the 3 and the 6. 3 pin takes out the 4, 7, and just misses the 2.
Great effort. Here's Larry Valcourt from Newport, New Hampshire, where he's the manager of Sunset Lanes in Newport.
There's 3 boxes in a row. He pulled the ball badly to the left. Starting back at the fill and the spare in the second, he punched out just a 2 and the 8. So he 2 in the fill, 8 box, and then a 7, and now he's pulled it left here.
And again, wow.
Got himself straightened out here. He's not that far ahead of Pat Pay.
He's chopped out the 4 pin and then the 2 pin. Oh, do you believe that? I believe we've seen that one other time, but certainly no more than once. 1 pin on each ball in the 3 box for Larry Valcourt.
I've seen someone go the 1, 2, 3, not necessarily in that order. Usually it's the 2 or 3 pin first, and then maybe the head pin, and then the other, whichever one is standing for a 3 box.
Oh, Alex is getting a great roll on this wood. Let's see. Well, not as good as it could have been, but it'll give him a shot, and if he converts this for a spare, he'll win this skin here in the 5th.
Wants a piece of the 7-pin and the wood at the same time. Oh, he's too far left.
Nope. So we've got a carryover here in the 5th with the 2 10 boxes. Looks like Alex will add another one. He does. His 10 makes him 56 through 5, and Bob Kelly's still in the overall lead with Larry Valcourt running second, but look how close it is now for second. Pat Pay and Alex Pendleton coming up behind, and we will be back with the final 5 boxes on Candlepin Skins after these words. Back we are. I think we're headed to a pretty close finish here on Candlepin Skins.
I think so. Bob Kelly out in front, as you said, 195, but then 8 pins separate the next 3 bowlers.
This is a carryover skin in the 6th worth $30. And Bob Kelly starts it off with a spare.
Through the middle again. This time his spread eagle minus the 10 pin. See if he goes after the 3-6 again. He almost made it last time going on that side.
That's been Pat's tendency all during the day. We mentioned it in the first game, Dan. He's been kind of punching through the center all day.
Works it out for a good 9 box, but he wants marks, obviously. Larry Valcourt kind of shake off that 3 box back in the 5th frame, now bowling in the 6th, and just a slim lead over Alex Pendleton and Pat Pay.
Well, Larry's had some time to think about it. He had to sit through the commercial break and now a couple of other bowlers after rolling that 3 box. Trying to bounce back with a spare here. Nine box for Larry, and he's been now open 4 boxes in a row.
Yeah, not a good sign when you get a 9 box and the only pin that's left standing is the head pin. Not a good sign. Want that pin to go down with that first ball. If not, definitely with the second. Alex Pendleton now for the 6th frame, and he also needs a mark. He's going to shoot at the 4 horsemen in the 9 pin.
Spare leads for the skin. Alex with the last chance to change it. Looks pretty good. No, he couldn't carry either the 7 or the 9, so that's a $30 skin for Bob Kelly. As he continues to be the money leader and the pinfall leader here. 8 for Alex Pendleton.
Still very, very close. Bob Kelly can help his cause and move further out in front with this ball, working on the spare.
Oh boy. He'll shoot at the 2-4-6. Bob from Stoneham, Massachusetts. Is a mail carrier for the U.S. Postal Service. The way I figure it, this must be Bob's favorite time of year. A few weeks before Christmas. He knows the barrage is coming. 9 box for Bob.
Well, another chance for Pat Pay.
Again, a little bit full.
Yeah, I think he tried a different strategy. Lofted that one a little further out in the lane than normally does, but still not enough to get him over in the 1-2 pocket. Just 8.
Larry Valcourt at one point was running a very strong second, but now he's in a battle for second. And that's the reason he keeps pulling the ball to the left. Half Worcester this time. This has been one of those hours where each bowler has kind of gone through a valley. Trying to struggle and stay alive here.
That creates the carryover possibility, anyways, with a pair of nines. So Alex is a lot riding in this box. Not only a skin, but a mark could push him into second place. Well, hang on.
It's coming.
Hang on.
Now that piece of wood in front may be in play.
It definitely is. I can see the line from here. You may want to, I guess Alex agrees that it is in play. Oh, he pulled it left.
Wow, I think he was trying to get around it.
Well, I definitely wants to get around it, but I think it was in anyways, but
I don't think there's any question that it was in play. That's what he was trying to do. The 10 bucks wins the skin, though, for $25.
And he brings him within 3 pins of Larry Valcourt for second.
Bob Kelly in the 8th. An 8th box that's worth $25.
3, 5, and 10. Piece of wood next to the 3-pin. Say not at a real good angle for him.
$8 for Bob. Pay drills out a half Worcester left.
I wonder if Pat, Larry, and Alex have something to do next week. They can't come back. None of them look like they even have a remote chance of wanting to come back. They're not even coming close to marks right now. 3, 5, and 9 left for Pat, and it's just a 9 box.
Bob Kelly would seem safe at this point.
Yeah, you can't. You wouldn't think all 3 of them would get extremely hot with double strikes or marking out to catch Bob. But the fight is really for that second spot. Larry on the head pin this time, but the 3, 6, and 7 left. Just got to concentrate on the 3, 6. He has a piece of wood next to the 7 pin, which could help him, but I would think he would have to split the 3 and the 6. It's full on the 3 pin, so he won't get a mark. Alex in the driver's seat, bowling last.
He may have another chance to win himself an easy skin here. Yep, for the second time in a row, Alex is going to come up there knowing that a 10 box will win the skin, but more importantly, he'd like to get the mark. Of course, he missed that opportunity in the last box. But a mark here still could put him in the driver's seat. Ball did not quite come up to the head pin. Look at this! Look at that! Oh, wow! Alex walks away like, yeah, I meant to do that. Right where I aimed it.
Look at this, 4 horsemen, 7 pin, 4 pin, 2 pin, and let's not forget the head pin. Big strike, big break off the ball of Alex Pendleton in the 8th frame. Brings him within 2 pins of Larry, but you would think he would pass Larry with the fill. Bob Kelly, half Worcester right.
Alex Pendleton now with $100 in skins winning. Look out. Bob back through the same spot. Now he's got to throw the bailout ball. And he'll settle for 6, but Bob is in a pretty comfortable position here. Unlikely that two guys would pass him. But you never know. Pat Pay will have a spare leave. First one he's had in a while, it seems.
Pat really needs a mark.
Yes, he got it.
Keeps himself alive with a spare in the 9th.
That is his first spare here in this second game. You see he had the strikes in the 2nd and 4th.
Now the pressure is clearly on Larry Valcourt with Alex Pendleton only 2 behind and Pat Pay already posting a mark in the 9th.
Larry off the head pin, but he gets a nice break.
Trying the Alex Pendleton trick, missing the head pin.
Well, he got a nice break on the 1 and the 2, but not a good break with the wood.
Don't think that second piece of wood he could get by the front piece and have enough of that second piece to make it. He's going to have to play the front one high, and that's a great shot is right.
That is a great shot.
Keeps his hopes alive. Plays it high in the wood. Almost looked like the 7-pin wasn't going to go down.
Also creates a possible carryover situation with the 2 spares. Alex Pendleton working on a strike here.
Now, if Alex Pendleton could win this skin, he'd be coming back.
He will not, though.
That would have meant a double strike.
So that means our last skin of the day is going to be worth $75.
It's a choice here. Do you go for the 9 and the fill, or you try to cut the 2-pin over for this possible spare? Now he's going to go for the fill. A little strategy involved here.
Because those 2 pins count twice. That's really 4 pins right there. A 10 for Alex.
A lot riding in the 10th.
Well, we thought it might come to this, and it appears that it has. Bob Kelly does still seem relatively secure. Our last skin of the day worth $75. And Bob throws a great-looking ball and gets kind of a half a break.
7-8 left. Piece of wood, thank goodness. But I don't know if it can help him or not. Let's see, he's going to try.
No. Bob will take a 10 and a 113 for a 2-game total of 245.
Pat Pay would definitely have to throw a big fill, another mark, and then hope. Doesn't look like he would catch Bob Kelly unless he threw a couple strikes.
Well, let's see now here.
This is a tough piece of wood because he's liable to leave that 5-pin. This 3-pin is liable to fly right around the 5.
Oh, he got it.
Nice mark there.
Well, now, let's look at this here. First, let's see the replay, but if Pat were to throw a strike here, that would give him 237. He does not. A 6 for a 126. It was a long shot anyway for Pat, but the 2-game total for him now 233. You see that Alex could pin to beat Pat, and Larry would appear to pass him as well. I thought perhaps if Pat had thrown a strike there, maybe those extra pins could have helped him, because then he could have forced Alex to mark.
Larry pulls it again to the left.
That's on a spare also, a 2 fill.
That would seem to put Alex Pendleton in the next week's show, but let's see what happens.
Boy, you know, if Larry gets even a 6 or 7 fill on that spare and then puts another one up, he forces Alex to mark. Now, Larry takes an 8 for a 97, 2-game total of 229.
So he's definitely out. 233 is the score to beat for Alex. He needs a 7 box to tie, an 8 box to win. Throws a strike, he wins a skin.
And if he throws a spare, we'll have a carryover. And that may very well happen.
That puts him in the next week's show.
Yes, it does.
Pressure off there. Now it's, can he create the carryover, or does Pat Pay win it?
Oh, he got it. That keeps everybody alive. We will take a break for that carryover skin when we return here on Candlepin Skins. First place wound up as a tie at 245 between Bob Kelly and Alex Pendleton as Alex filled that 10th box mark with a 9. We're now in our third carryover box trying to settle this last skin. Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt remain alive. They carried over with spares in the first extra frame and with 10s in the second extra frame. Bob gets the spare. Great shot. It's going to take an equally great shot for Larry to tie him here. He'll go for the wood and just misses. Bob Kelly will get the last $75 skin, and we'll be back to wrap it up in a minute. Once again, in our closing moments here, Bob Kelly and Alex Pendleton tie for first. They'll both be coming back next week with those 245s. We say goodbye to Pat Pay and Larry Valcourt. Bob and Alex also took the lion's share of the skins winning as well. Bob Kelly at $260, a pretty good hour for him. So Bob and Alex will be coming back next week. They will be joined by Chris Sargent and Tom Morgan. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown, reminding you tomorrow afternoon at noon, it will be Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Rick Barassa against Joe Tavernese. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.